All right, my name is Kevin Gooch, and I am a partner at the law firm of Holland and Knight. Holland and Knight is a full-service law firm with 1,400 attorneys across the nation and a couple international offices. We are a billion-dollar law firm, so a law firm that brings in $1 billion a year in client billings. We are one of the top 50 law firms in the world. And law firms of this nature in the city of Atlanta will start attorneys off at $160,000 a year, and you can make upwards of $3 to $4 million a year as a very successful attorney with a large book of business. That means you have clients that you bring to the firm that hire you for their services and pay the firm based off of your relationship. As a lawyer, when you think about it, when people have the most difficult issues in their lives, who do they look to help them resolve those issues, right? Whether it be selling something, whether it be a car accident, whether it be a criminal charge, whatever major is happening in someone's life, they typically need a lawyer to help them navigate it. And so I really appreciate being that resource for folks that are dealing with really challenging times or opportunities to celebrate. For instance, selling a business. And so I truly enjoy that. And what originally got me interested in the practice of law was the Brown versus Board of Education decision, which is a lawsuit that went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, where lawyers put together several cases that allowed for schools, which were previously segregated, black people went to black schools, white people went to white schools, to become integrated so we all could go to the same school system. And lawyers like Thurgood Marshall and others worked together to bring these lawsuits and change the nature and the course of history for black people using the legal system to integrate schools. And so that's what originally got me into the practice of law, the understanding of how understanding the law and practicing law can change lives and change the trajectory of an entire group of people. So that's what I love about the practice of law, understanding that power that you have as a lawyer and also being able to help the less fortunate and those vulnerable battle systems and win and protect their rights. What would I change about my current position as a lawyer? I would change the time demands that you have as a lawyer, right? When people are paying billable rates of $700, $800, $900, $1,000 an hour, they expect you to always be available. There's no excuse. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to get in touch with you. And so you have to always be available for your clients when they're paying those amounts to your law firm for your services. And then also just the billable hour. As a lawyer, you have to keep track of your time in 6-minute increments. So think about it, 1 hour, you get paid by the hour. You divide 1 hour by 10, that's 6-minute increments. So what does that mean? If you're on a call with someone and it's, roughly 20 minutes, you put down 0.3, which is 18 minutes, conference call with such and such. And so being able to track your day in 6-minute increments is a little bit of a pain. Now, if you're working on a big matter that just fills your entire day, it's easy. 8 hours, 10 hours working on this case or working on this deal. But when you have a lot of things happening at the same time and you have to switch between different things, it can be very difficult keeping track of your time in 6-minute increments. So, 0.5 working on this document, 0.3 on another client, answering a call, 0.2 on another client, responding to an email. It can just get a little bit challenging, but that's the way of life when you're a lawyer and you have to get paid on an hourly basis. What would be next for me? So I am a partner right now, and what's next for me would be just developing a large book of business so I can get into that seven-figure salary. So just working to bring in clients, to get my name out there, to build my reputation in the community, and have the honor of people hiring me to help them with their legal needs, having companies, having banks, having private equity funds hire me to help them with their legal needs. That's next for me. It's just building a large book of business and continuing to practice law and just be the best partner for my firm that I can be. What in my educational journey prepared me to be a lawyer Well, I tell everyone that any good lawyer, you can be the brightest lawyer in the world, but if you cannot communicate those thoughts, you don't win. And so from an educational perspective, the things that lawyers need to do, they need to focus on writing and speaking. And so English, literature, all of those things, take as many classes as you can, learning how to write, writing concisely, writing clearly, and then other classes that teach you how to speak, public speaking. Those are great classes for lawyers. And if you want to be a business attorney, I would say taking classes in accounting to understand accounting is a plus, not necessary. I was a political science and philosophy major, so I didn't take any accounting courses, and I'm a partner at a law firm. But I do wish if I could go back and do it again, I would have taken some accounting courses in college. But just understanding the system, taking classes that are rigorous, that make you work, don't avoid the work, really lean in and get as much hard work as you can, because when you go to law school, it's going to be one of the toughest experiences educationally that you will deal with. And so you need to prepare yourself as an undergrad. And again, English, learning how to write, any classes that teach you how to write, and then any public speaking courses, and if you can, accounting. Right. What advice would I give someone that wanted to be a partner in big law? Two things. One, first is know your audience. And what I mean by that is no matter what industry you're in, no matter what profession you're in, no matter what activity you're doing, if you're dealing with someone else, do your best to understand what that person is looking for, what their goal is, and see if there's a way that you can meet that without sort of sacrificing your goals and your objectives. One example that I give is that when I was in law school, I had one professor that really liked you to argue against yourself. He would say, take a position and then think about what your opponent's going to argue, and now argue that opponent's position and then respond to that opponent's position. So he really wanted you to go back and forth arguing against different positions. I had another professor that wanted you to basically regurgitate what he taught you in class. He didn't really care about what the counter position was. He just wanted you to tell him what he taught you in class. So if you wrote the same exam for each of those professors, one would give you an A, one would give you a D. And so when I say know your audience, you got to know what the person you're dealing with is looking for, what their goals are, what their objectives are, and try to do your best to meet their goals and objectives without completely sacrificing your goals and objectives. And that's how you get things done. And the second piece of advice is success is leased not owned, and rent is due every day. And what I mean by that is you have to work hard every single day to accomplish your goals, right? You have to take the bull by the horns, and you are in charge of your destiny. There are no excuses. Don't look outside of yourself for any reason why you're not successful. You have to leave everything you have sort of on the field and let the chips fall where they may. So success is leased, not owned, and rent is due every single day, so you have to work for it. In the next 20 years, I think the practice of law will evolve by using artificial intelligence. There will be some technology that changes the practice of law a little bit, but I think you will still need lawyers because the practice of law is so intricate and nuanced, and people want that personal feel and touch. I think it will be like, kind of like medicine, right? There are some things that you can automate, some things that are simple and sort of redundant that will go away. But when you're practicing at sort of the highest level, working on, I've handled deals from $2 million to $2.5 billion. No one's gonna have a $2.5 billion deal done through technology or through a computer. And so, yeah, there will be opportunities still to practice law at the highest levels, but unfortunately, some of the sort of redundant stuff, some of the more simple portions of practicing law, they will be automated. So again, at the highest level, I don't think it will change a lot. There will be ways to be more efficient, but I think there will still be a need for lawyers practicing in the larger firms, dealing with some of the more complex and sophisticated legal issues that present themselves. How do I give back in the community through my professional experience? Well, again, as a lawyer, there's power in practicing law, right? Understanding the government, understanding laws, understanding statutes, understanding how to avoid risk and liabilities. There's power in that. Working with large companies, companies, Home Depots, UPSs of the world, like just working with them as a corporate attorney allow you to pick up principles, skills, understand business in a way that you can then take to the local entrepreneur and help them understand how to maximize their business and grow their business. And so that's one way that I'm able to give back, is to take that knowledge from some of the boardrooms from the Fortune 100 and then give that knowledge back to local Main Street entrepreneurs and help them make their businesses efficient, effective, and grow their businesses. And then the other way to give back as a lawyer is law firms are connected to the community, and they often have community service requirements, demands. You have pro bono hours that you have to give as a lawyer. Most firms require their attorneys to give 50 to 100 pro bono hours a year. And so you can take those opportunities with lawyers that have to give pro bono hours and find ways to direct them to causes that can really impact and change the community. You know, having a lawyer from a Holland and Knight that's willing to work with a local nonprofit to help them avoid risk, to help them grow their achieve their purpose and give back to the community is powerful. And then also, again, Holland and Knight, $1 billion law firm, and so they give back financially as well. And so leveraging some of those resources to direct them to community organizations that will benefit the community, that's another way to give back as a lawyer at a large firm.